Hey, hi. Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to the Goat Force Gaming channel, where we play the roguelikes and the roguelites every single time. Folks, it is always tremendous to be back out here with you again, taking a look at all the awesome roguelikes and roguelites that are constantly hitting our now playing list and our wish lists and what have you, just weighing us down in all the best ways. We are out here taking another look at Rabbit and Steel, a video game that has just taken all of my attention in the best way lately. I have been addicted to this since I picked it up. If you have not seen Rabbit and Steel yet, this is an action roguelike that combines the high-level MMO raid boss encounters with bullet hell. And I gotta admit to you again, I never thought that I would like it. I saw that it had an overwhelmingly positive review, and I said, hey, it's a rogue, it's got good reviews, let's see what this thing's all about. And next thing I knew, I was addicted. I love the Black Bolt ribbon. It works perfectly with the assassin because her attacks hit multiple times, so that counter goes real quick compared to some of the other combatants out there that you can pick from. And hey, this is a watch party. I did this run the other night, and it was an epic run, and I happened to be recording it, so I thought, hey, you know what? We're going to show this one off because some of you have really held on. You know, some of these runs in Rabbit and Steel, while fun, didn't last so long. Still had a great time, but they didn't last so long. And so this video is really a celebration of this game and a thank you for all the support and for sticking with me. What are the options here? Abilities with a global cooldown. Oh, see, I'm checking on my global cooldowns to see what makes sense and just to take another look at the options overall here. Primary is a 30% larger radius, deals 30% more damage, max HP increase. Really don't mind that. So it's some good options overall. Yeah. Durability. For those long-standing runs, right? We hope. We hope. So, this is a watch party. Recorded it the other night. Wanted to share it with all of you. And you know what? It's a lot easier also for all of us to enjoy a cup of coffee because Rabbit and Steel, not the most coffee-friendly game. Look at that DPS. 615 at this point. I was very excited. The other thing is, as you play through more of the game and you visit some of the areas, you can change the mapping and which areas you're going to visit. You can change that order, and I found that to be quite the game changer as well. That's very interesting because it's going to hit them multiple times. So I did consider the Ruby secondary upgrade also. Just given the number of hits and that capability that we have. I've found myself starting to use the potions quite a bit more as well. They're very good. Cheers to you. But the fact that I could change up the order of the areas that I was visiting, so I found myself getting good at some of the areas and less good at the other ones, but if I could visit the ones that I was better at first and get some nice upgrades and loot along the way, by the time I got to the harder areas, you know, I was set. I was set, kind of. I actually really like the Emerald level that we're in right now. I did get hit a couple times here. These were tough. I wasn't paying good attention to the moving where you have to keep moving and stop moving. But eventually you just kill them anyways, and you can move to your heart's content, whether that means stopped or going. But I just love the way they change up the process in all of these different areas. You know, now we're in this area where we've got to match the colors in order to stay safe. And I just find this game so relaxing. And I know that's going to throw some of you off, right? Because some of these games, got to get away from that. Get away from that, but then get in the zone. There we go. Every once in a while you pop off the defensive. Get a nice little quick boost and a vanish out of it. But with this type of game, I found myself so intensely focused on what I was having to do on the screen that I wasn't able to really think about anything else. Especially when I record the video like this, and I'm not talking at the same time. I'm just so intensely focused on staying inside that color, and then the countdown as well that's gonna blast random projectiles. Apparently not focused enough that time, but you see what I mean. You catch the general drift. Now, I think this run that you're seeing right here was probably run number 4 or 5 in a series of runs. Because that's the other thing about this game. You get going, say, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna sit down, I'm gonna have 1 run or 2 runs in Rabbit and Steel, and the next thing you know, you are 5 runs in and still having just a tremendous time with the game. Bloody Bandage, when you use your defensive, apply bleed to all enemies. Every 10 seconds, vanish for 3 seconds and gain a brief speed boost. Every 40 times you or debuffs you apply deal damage, gain invulnerability for 5 seconds. Yeah, I mean, with the rate at which we are doing damage and attacks, it just makes so much sense to go with those types of loot options. Now, this is really interesting with the tethering, because they limit your overall mobility, but you've still got to navigate and keep track of the not moving and stop moving and all that stuff. The nice thing now is that we're benefiting from the invulnerability on the 40 hits. Yeah, that was quite the boon for the goat, turns out. But just look at everything happening on the screen. And then on top of it, you're having to pay attention to the orders they're throwing at you. It's tremendous. You can't think about anything else. You have to shut off every other part of your brain. Yeah, perfect use of the vanish right there. I can't say enough nice stuff about this game. It was just such a surprise at how much I liked it. And for that reason, I'm happy to tell you that the video you're watching right now is rated G for giveaway. Yes, folks, that's correct. We're going to be giving away a copy of Rabbit and Steel. This has quickly become one of the favorites of 2024 for me, and I'd like to share that joy with one of you. And so to be eligible to get in on the giveaway, it's quite simple. All you need to do is be subscribed and leave a comment. That's it. That's it. And feel free to comment on somebody else's comment. That counts too. What I think would be a lot of fun, comment-wise, is if you commented on your favorite bullet hell game. From any era of gaming, okay? Was it Contra and Life Force on the NES? Was it Gradius on the SNES? Let us know. Let us know. And feel free to comment on other folks' favorites. You know, hopefully we get, well, we get a little bit of a nostalgia drip, right? That's the hope. That's the hope. Look at this. Look at this now. Stay in the color. And by the way, there's a gigantic sphere of death coming at you. Yeah, I know. I almost got hit there. I think this frog boss is quite fun. Avi the Starry Frog. Thank you for the good times. Now, we love doing giveaways on the channel, and we can do them thanks to all of you for the support. I appreciate that. What a time. How about that? You know, every time you get a clear on a boss, you're going to go to the next area, and then you get the opportunity to visit the shop right off the bat, right? We had that gold potion last time, so now we're loaded. You know what I was really hoping for was the upgrade that makes your primary hit 4 times. You know, this is quite interesting as well, because of the amount of hits that it does. That, of course, made sense as well. I can't remember, did I go with the level ups? Yeah, I did. Okay. And the level ups are going to boost your hit capability by 1% each time. And it does add up. It takes time across the run, but it does add up. You know, we're at an additional 15% to damage right now. But see, in this way, because of the change to the cooldown, I could fire off the secondary and then quickly begin hitting again with the primary. And just get more hits overall to pop off those other capabilities from the loot. Pretty awesome. I was very happy with the setup so far. I mean, look at that. And then we did so good on that single hit that we unlocked the Sacred Flame set. And then you go, oh man, I'm gonna have to play more. I want to see the Sacred Flame set. Really cool. Let's take another sip here. Cheers to you. Now, I am coming back from a weekend trip. I'll talk more about this probably in our next Time Trekker video. That's another game that's been real great to play. Time Trekker, a lot of fun. Now you're probably noticing this is usually the first area that I hit, but now we're coming to it after the Emerald City area. And we've got a lot more power, so it's, you know, it's easier to make your way through some of these zones now. Some of these meetings with Seiya the Archon Crow, for instance, right? Lot more DPS happening. So anyway, I am coming back from a weekend trip that we took, and we hit one of those water parks with the inflatables. Have you seen these? It's kind of like Wipeout, the television show, where those contestants sign up to literally get the hell beaten out of them. You've seen this? I gotta tell you, folks, I'm in a little bit of pain today. You know, I did something to my left shoulder. You tend to fall down a lot. Now, it's fun falling down. Okay, you're falling in the water. You know, it breaks your fall nicely. But it turns out, you know, when you do that 97 times, all in the same day, you know, sometimes that doesn't always pan out as well for you afterwards. And so I will tell you that I have all of the ointments on now. Yeah, I had a sliver in my foot. My knees are all cut up real good, you know. The shoulder, you know, there's a little bit of a shoulder thing happening. So I have I don't know, 3 or 4 different ointments on. You got the arnica, you got you got the neosporin. Lot of goops and ointments happening. That's okay, you know. Your abilities and loot all deal 30% more damage, but all global cooldowns are longer. Your primary strength becomes your special's cooldown. Oh my god, it's a lot of math. All of your cooldowns are reduced by 3 seconds if you use your defensive. This effect ends until the end of battle. So, the Dark Glass Spear. Very interesting. I started to think about this, and I thought, well, you know, we're going to have to take a look-see here and do some thinking. And at some point, I just said, I don't know about any of that. Not sure about all of that. But I did think that the fire scale corset sounded interesting. You know, usually I'm not popping off the defensive immediately. And so you've got that time period where you're going to be able to take advantage of it for a minute. And then there's those times where I just forget to use the defensive as well. I mean, and you know, in this case, now it works out to the goat's favor, right? What a time. What a time that is. If you know, you know. Yeah, so we had a good time on the trip, and you know, we ended up going to this gastropub for dinner. And you know, you're out on the water, getting banged around all day. So you get to this gastropub and they hand you a menu, and suddenly everything looks great. You just want to eat it all. And so this is not the type of game where, you know, I'm going to post pictures and block the screen. But I will tell you, probably when we do that time trekker video next and continue our journey, we will talk a little bit more about the food. I took several pictures. We had Irish nachos. We had an Irish pizza. Like, let me just say that the corned beef, it was flowing, okay? It was flowing, and we were flowing with the corned beef as well. Everything was flowing. It was really great. Really, really great. At one point, the waitress came over and she said, "Oh my God, somebody should have told you how large these portions are." Yeah, because it was just me and my daughter. I took her on this trip. And I looked at her and I said, "What are you talking about? This is great news." I mean, our whole table was full of food. So, I mean, we had a gigantic pizza. We had a gigantic BLT, okay, because I mean, if bacon's on the menu, you know, you got to do something about it, right? Yeah. Then we had a ridiculous appetizer, these Irish nachos. It was off the chain. So we'll talk a little bit more about that next time, and I'll have some photos for you as well. Because look, we like talking about food out here. We just do. We just do. Cheers to you. Sometimes I consider how far we've come as a community and a channel, you know? Playing video games, talking about food, and talking about coffee. What a time. I appreciate the support from everybody. If you're having a great time, do me a favor, hit that like button. It'll help more people see this video, learn about the game, and also learn about how awesome our community is. Maybe they'll want to hang out. Right? Twiley, the valedictorian crow, usually throws quite a challenge, but I gotta tell you, I felt really good about the situation overall. And I know we fired off the defense, and you know, that loot that we picked up is not active anymore, but you know, things were going swimmingly. Talk about bullet hell. I am still trying to understand why they do this time stop thing. And maybe it's to slow down capabilities. I don't know. I don't think it's to give the player a break. But it kind of just stops the action. And maybe they're trying to throw the player off, like if you're, you know, developing a rhythm, which ideally you are. But I think the battles change so often as well that, you know, how much of a rhythm could you develop, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. You know, the attacks are constantly changing. Because it's not like the boss is getting health back right now. I considered that as well. I'm trying to wrap my brain around it. Anyway, just, you know, random thought, right? But we were doing extremely well at this point. Some of you were like, okay, we don't exactly believe that this footage belongs to the GOAT, but we're willing to keep watching at this point. I would never do that. The losses you see are mine. The wins you see are mine. And the wins are, you know, fewer and further between, but they are mine. Let's see what we get here. Deals 70 damage 4 times to an area in front of you. Boom. Easy decision. That's what I was waiting on. Knowing me, I probably went right to the potions. Yep. Absolutely get that. Grab that too. I think it was here that I realized I didn't take my HP back. Now this really is an interesting area too, because you're only able to move one space at a time when you fight Mink, the Great Wolf. And so you can no longer freely move, basically. You're seeing how fast that life bar is falling as well, so I felt okay about the Mink situation. It's like, yeah, go ahead, knock me back. I'm coming right back, Mink. And you're not. Ooh, just popped up that big hit. DPS 444, not bad at all. What's cool too, when you fight the two, whoa, now this is where it gets difficult. A lot going on. And so if you look in between the character, right towards the center, there's that circular piece, and that is where you need to get hit in order to take damage. The rest of you is invulnerable, basically. They need to hit you right there in the heart piece. If we would not have taken them out as fast as we did with the 664 DPS, that could have gone sideways. And this is another tough one where they're cleaving the sides and you really have to be at the ready. As they say, steel yourself. Now, thankfully, we've got the invulnerability cloak as well on that countdown. And because I'm, dishing out the hits so fast, I almost bungled that, because this is where you have to track where it's going to move as well. See, it's very tricky. It's very tricky. I like everything they throw at you. There's such a good variety involved. But look at those hit counters and how fast those are falling. That time I was a little bit smarter about how the circle was going to move. You kind of pick up the vibe along the way. Or you don't, and then you die. 786, folks. What a great combination of capabilities going at this point. Abilities and loot that hit more than once deal 30 more damage. I mean, my goodness, right? All abilities deal 40 damage 2 times to enemies facing away from you. I mean, how do you not go Shadow Bracelet with what we've got going on, right? I felt so good about that pickup, I gotta tell you. Now this is where things get a little bit dicey. Looking for that opening. And I'll tell you, at times it's kind of hard to see because there's so much going on, you're not even sure like where you're gonna end up at. And now it's doing the thing where, you can only move one space at a time. Yeah, almost didn't make that one. Now we're stuck in this little box as well. But look at that. I mean, we're 60% chewed through that health. And so old Marin will be doing the transformation real soon here. Oof, and yeah, I had to pop that vanish off real quick. I was excited when the transformation happens, but then I'm like, oh, but what does that mean now? Right. This is another time where it's extremely important to keep focused on that white circle, the heart zone of your character. Yeah, really great. And we get this really neat zoomed in time slow, which is interesting because I guess there's a couple of bosses that do play around with time. Yeah, we're going to be going out to the local beach today, and I am looking forward to submerging my left shoulder and seeing if we can get this kink worked out a little bit, right? Not that kind of kink. Come on, come on, come on. Be an adult. Oof. Almost didn't make it to the circle there. I was more focused on the beams. It's funny to rewatch this footage with you and kind of see the mistakes, you know? Honestly, it helps me for next time. Now, I have played you know, more runs. I mean, I do find myself still coming back to this game. Hey, a new rabbit to take a look at. How about that? Defeat 20 bosses. Very cool. The Pale Keep. Okay. All right. Things are heating up out there, folks. I don't even have to really worry about these, because we're pretty well set. The burn might have been interesting because that ability, come to think of it, would have added more hits of damage over time, which would have helped with those counters. And I don't think I considered that enough when I was making my choice here. If I could do it all over again, I probably would have gotten the Ruby special. This was my first time getting this far in the game, and of course I saw the spear and the shield and immediately thought, oh my god, what is happening right now? What happened to the, you know, the friendly looking sprites that I've been up against the whole time, right? But then I was like, oh, they're going down kind of fast. I'm excited about this. All right. What's nice is when you can get them together. See, now I'm cool. If not for that invulnerability, we would have gotten blasted right there. You've got to stand in the middle of those zones. Yeah, see, I took one to the face there. Goat's definitely not doing what he's supposed to. Get in the line. But, you know, again, we had the invulnerability cloak popping off every 40 hits. Look at that DPS, too. 900 or something like that? Wow. Well, I like how they teach you what you're going to be up against when you meet with the boss, because the boss is a combination of all of these different bullet hell rules that you're going to be up against. Did I already say that I think this is a great game? I think I probably did. I apologize if I'm sounding like a broken record here. Let's see what we get. Abilities and loot that hit for 100 damage or less now hit for 100 damage regardless of other loot effects. So that was very, very interesting to me, because I determined that the 70 would now be trumped up to 100, and yeah, decision made, right? Decision made. The Moonlit Pinnacle. I thought, oh my goodness, is this the head rabbit? What are we doing here? Rabbit of the Moon, Shira, please. She appears to be muttering something. I'm just... could... Don't... You're just... in the way. Well, we'll see about that, won't we? So now, we're up against something that is basically going to throw everything at you. This is like the final exam, right? All the math you learned throughout the year, they're gonna throw it all at you now. Which, you know, it boggles my mind how I pulled off some of these. Use the banish. Just me calling out. Yeah, so Very important to pay attention to the entire year's worth of content to be ready for that math final, because they are busting out all the stuff on this one. Really, really neat. And, you know, of course, they're going to call things out. They're going to tell you where to be. They're going to say, hey, stop moving. They're going to say, hey, get inside the circle. But you don't have as much time to react to it. You kind of have to be able to look at this stuff visually and just know what it means. And in order for me to have been able to do that, I had to play the game like 87 times. But that wasn't a problem because I love the game. Perfect time for a vanish. Look at how crazy this gets. Still at 5 hearts, folks. I'm about ready to hit that transformation. Yeah, in watching this again, I just really appreciate everything happening all at once and having to react to it. And I just go back to how I find this game to be very relaxing. Because you can't really think about anything else actively. You get the steal yourself background with the countdown. I think what makes the game so addictive is the build variety. You know, just continuing to come back to see all the variations you can put together and how nasty you can make your build from a DPS standpoint. It was at this point where I looked at the fact that we had 5 hearts and I looked at the health of Rabbit of the Moon, and I thought, you know what? I think everything's going to be okay. I think it's going to be all right on this one. You kind of get that feeling too, folks? I totally blew it on that one. Not fast enough. But I think we had the invulnerability active. Look, if you're playing as the assassin and the invulnerability cloak comes up, 40 hits, no problem, you take it. That's 20 uses of the primary attack. And you're going to cut it down further. Outstanding. Another trinket. I was so excited. My hands were shaking. My hands were definitely shaking. Folks, this was phenomenal. So much fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's do this again sometime. We'll see you next time out there. Take care.